Hello everybody and welcome back to another tutorial. Today's tutorial, somebody suggested that I do just a simple ladder stitch. Now, if you have been on my channel for a while and you've made a few of my tutorials, you've probably run into this stitch a lot. That being like my axolotls or my frogs or maybe even my tie. But this is how you make a very basic ladder cuff. Ladder cuffs get a lot of hate, and that is just simply because you're not using the right string. A lot of people don't like ladder cuffs because they don't hold shapes very well. And that's because you're simply using elastic, and ladders do not like elastic. For me, I prefer a non-stretch string. This is I don't know what it is. I got this at a craft store forever ago. It's like a non-stretch string. It still has a little bit of stretch to it, but it's not considered elastic. It's kind of hollow in the middle. It's like a big spaghetti noodle. However, for the tutorial, my assumption is that a good 95% of you will be using elastic, so that is what I will be using as well. Now, you guys know I don't love measuring. However, I did use about 45 inches of this stretch elastic string. And this video, just like a lot of my other tutorials, will be a work along with me. So that means that there will be little to no cuts in the video. It would be as if we were in the same room and I was showing you how to make it. Alrighty, I have my string here. I didn't measure. Is anyone surprised? So I just really hate measuring. It just puts me in some kind of weird box. I don't like it. I like measuring with my heart. Alrighty, so the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to fold our string in half. Now, for your ladder stitch, it can be as long or as short as you'd like. For me, I'm just going to be doing, let's do 5, just for the fun of it. I'm going to take 5 beads, and I'm going to place it on one side of my string. And I'm going to fold it just like this, and I'm going to let these drop. So these beads should be at the very end of your string. Now for this and the rest of the tutorial, it does not matter what side of the string you start on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 5 more beads and I'm going to place it on one side of the string. Now with 5 beads attached on one side of my string, I'm going to take the other side of my string and I'm going to weave it into these 5 beads here. Now, direction is important. We are going to take our string and we're going to weave it through the side where the string is sticking out of. So you can see here, my string is sticking out this way. So I'm going to take my string, the other side, and I'm going to weave it through those 5 beads just like that. So essentially, we're crisscrossing our strings. And then we're just going to pull. Now I'm going to hold my strings just like this because we want to keep the strings the same size on both sides, especially if you measured. I'm going to pull my strings. I know you can't see it on camera, but I'm pulling just to make sure. They're a little off, but that's okay. We just don't want them to be like this, you know? And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing again. So I'm just going to take 5 beads on one side of my string. And then I'm going to take my other side of the string and I'm going to weave it through. So remember, whatever side that string is sticking out of is where you're going to start the weave. And then we pull. Now, as we're going through, I'm making sure that I'm not pulling the string too tight. I'm kind of doing like a medium tug, just because if you pull it too tight, it's gonna collapse in on itself, as you can see it's doing right here. And if you pull it too loose, it's not gonna hold its shape. So I'm just making sure that I'm giving this a decent tug, but I'm not going too tight and I'm not going too loose. This is why ladder stitches with stretch string sucks. Alrighty. Now, we're just going to continue this pattern down the rest of the way. Now, for speed, now that we have about 3 rows, our string is kind of anchored in place, so it's not going to get any smaller really or any longer on either side. So we don't have to worry about keeping the strings at the same length anymore. I'm going to drop them at the bottom here, and then I'm going to weave through. And this is just so we pull one side of the string like that. Saves you a lot of time, especially if you're making a bunch of these. And I'm going to go again. I'm going to do 5 beads. I'm going to go ahead and let my beads drop to the bottom here. I'm going to take my string and I'm going to go ahead and weave it through. And we pull. All right, I'm on the last one for this. So we're going to go ahead and add our 5 on here. And take my string and I'm going to weave it through. And I'm going to pull. All right, so this has our basic ladder stitch. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how we connect them. And this part is really, really, really simple. We are just going to take one side of our string, it does not matter, and we are going to weave it through the red ones back here. So we're going to weave it through the very first ones that we started. It doesn't matter which side you pick. Just make sure that if your string is down here, you weave through the bottom. If you chose the top string, you weave through that ways. Because if you go like this, it's not gonna work. So that's the only thing to keep in mind. And now that I have my string weaved through those 5 beads, I'm just going to pull, and that will connect us together. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take my 2 tails and I will tie them together. And if you want to try to hide the knot, you're just going to take one side of your string, does not matter, and weave it through one of the neighboring beads. So I'm just going to weave it through this purple one here, and then I'm going to pull, and that's going to sneak the knot into this purple bead here. And then once you've done that, you can just trim off both sides of the tail. And then, ta-da, you have your very own ladder stitch. Now, because I did rainbow, this thing is way too big, so I would definitely wear it as like an upper arm cuff versus a wrist cuff. I really prefer a non-stretch string for these, because as you can see, these really smush in on themselves. They don't hold the shape as well. Alrighty, my friends, thank you so much for watching. This video, just like a majority of my tutorials, are actually suggestions. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm also going to pop up my email here. I've had a few of you guys email me with your creations, which I absolutely love. I also just realized that you can mention somebody on YouTube, and I've had people do that as well. So I really love seeing what you guys create from my tutorials. So feel free to tag me on YouTube, or you can just send it right to my email. And I've been putting them at the end of the video to show off the creations. Alrighty, my friends, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.